What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well and having a great day so far. It is time now for the Sunday afternoon weather update for Sunday, June 30th, 2024. We are tracking Major Hurricane Beryl, which is now a dangerous Category 4 hurricane that is moving westward and approaching the Windward Islands. Today we're going to talk about Hurricane Beryl. We're going to talk about the severe weather that is already ongoing in the Northeast and other severe weather threats that are going to be ongoing multiple days this week. And yes, we do have somewhat of a pattern change coming to the Northeast. I'll have details on that. If you're new to my channel, subscribe down below, give this a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, share these videos with anyone you know, and leave a comment down below. Already, extremely dangerous Category 4 Beryl approaching the Windward Islands. Life-threatening winds and storm surge are expected there beginning early Monday morning. Currently, Beryl is moving west at 21 miles per hour. The minimum pressure is 960 millibars, and the maximum sustained winds are now up to 130 miles per hour. Wow. Beryl has just exceeded all expectations. It was expected to get to a Category 3. Category 4, that was kind of a last-minute addition that happened this morning. I mean, this is very rare for June standards to see a major hurricane this strong heading right towards the Windward Islands and then eventually Jamaica. Check out these tracks. This is as of 2 p.m. Sunday. You can see here it is going to go over the Windward Islands throughout the day on Monday. Around 8 a.m. is when that is going to start as a major hurricane, and it is now expected to remain a major hurricane almost to Jamaica, but it's going to pass just a little bit to the south of Jamaica now on Wednesday. And then as we get into 8 a.m. Friday, we're looking at the Yucatan Peninsula. That's going to be an area of interest down the line. Take a look at this. This is just absolutely stunning view of the eye wall. Look at this clear eye. Let me zoom this in for you. I mean, that is just a perfect eye structure on this storm. And again, we are in June right now. This is just crazy to be talking about this so early, but when you have low wind shear and very hot waters, the ocean water temperatures were in the 90s, hey, that's octane fuel for these things, and they feed on that. They don't care what the calendar date says. If the conditions are right, the storm will form. Taking a current look here, you can see it's continuing westward, and it does look like it may be trying to level off a little bit. We'll have to see on the next update, which comes at 5 p.m., if it does strengthen anymore. Nonetheless, it's a major hurricane. 5 miles per hour more is not going to make much of a difference. If you live here in the Windward Islands, please be prepared for this system. If you know someone there, get them on the phone. Tell them, hey, you got a major hurricane coming your way, and this is serious. Hunker down now. Let's take a look at the latest tropical plots for Hurricane Beryl, and we can see here, Beryl is going to continue northwestward, and it's going to go through the Windward Islands, passing just to the south of Jamaica now. But then we have to watch the Yucatan Peninsula. It looks like it'll at least be Category 1, maybe a Category 2 at that point. I'm leaning towards stronger Category 1, but, you know, the intensity guidance didn't really pick up how strong it is now, so we probably should just throw that out for the time being. But there is a little bit of shear that may be keeping it weaker at that point. Then all eyes turn to the Gulf of Mexico. Does it continue west to Mexico, or does it take a little turn to the north and head up to southern Texas? All that remains to be seen. Pretty far out. We'd be looking at next weekend at that point, at the earliest, if not further out. Let's take a look at the GFS for Hurricane Beryl. This is the 12Z run, and you can see it does continue right over the Windward Islands, and then does get close to Jamaica. The GFS is a little bit further north of the guidance, and it does take it over Jamaica, then head towards the Yucatan Peninsula, and look at this. It weakens a little bit as it heads into the Gulf of Mexico, and then makes a landfall on the GFS near the Texas-Mexico border. Right now, that remains to be seen. That's something we will watch throughout the week, and quite frankly, that's all the way. You can see here, that would be next Sunday night, so that is a week out. We have a lot of time to keep an eye on that. But let's go back to the Hurricane Center for a second. Why? Because check this out. We now have a code red in the Gulf of Mexico. That could become a tropical depression or Tropical Storm Chris, which is the next name in the hurricane list, and then you have this tropical names list, I should say. And then take a look at this. There is now a code red behind Beryl. We'll have to keep an eye on that system as that one heads westward, and that could become a depression or a tropical storm. Now let's take a look at the European real quickly. And here's what the European does for Beryl. And I just want to show you a different perspective. And you can see here, hang on, there we go. Let's just advance this to 114 hours. We'll just advance this along here, and you can see the European. Here's Beryl right here. European does keep Beryl relatively far to the south. It does go into Mexico, and it continues into Mexico and does not take it into Texas like the GFS does. But now we have another big weather story. Actually, a couple. We have extreme heat in the south. It's really hot and steamy along the I-95 corridor on up into about New York City. High dew points, they continue all the way up to Maine. I mean, our dew point here in Philadelphia right now, I'm seeing 78 degrees on my weather station. I have a Davis Vantage View Pro 2, so yeah, 78-degree dew point, that is really, really high. And that is feeling some very strong showers and thunderstorms. Let's take a look at them on the radar. You can see here, this line, which is moving to the east and southeast. Take a look at this. There are some really impressive cells, and they are producing very heavy rainfall rates. 1 to 2 inch per hour, even localized 2-inch per hour plus rainfall rates. And you're also seeing here some bow echoes. Any of these bow echoes could produce strong gusty winds 60 to 70 miles per hour. We can see here I am in Philly. We have a severe thunderstorm that is moving this way, and then you also have storms that are starting to develop northwest of Baltimore. But what you could also happen is have redevelopment behind these cells, back building. That could cause flash flooding. We had a case of that this morning down in South Jersey, where there was anywhere from 3 to as much as 6 inches of rainfall down along the southern New Jersey shore points. Remember we talked about that being a possibility last night, but I didn't precisely know where it was going to happen. I thought maybe along 95. Well, it happened down in South Jersey. And we can see we have showers and thunderstorms in the southeast U.S. That's going to continue today and probably continue again tomorrow as well. And then we do have some showers that are moving up through Idaho and Montana. Storm Prediction Center for yesterday, there were 155 severe storm reports, 3 tornadoes, 136 wind reports, 2 of them being high wind reports, 16 hail reports, and 2 large hail reports. And you can see here 155 total reports, but let's fast forward to today. It's already starting to fill in for today, and I think this is going to really continue to fill in, especially for the Northeast. 0 tornadoes so far, though there was a tornado warning earlier up in northern Maine. 105 wind reports, 4 hail reports, 109 reports total, and I would not be surprised if today goes over 200 reports. And now let's take a look at the forecast for today. Well, you can see here, there's already numerous severe thunderstorm watches that are up. It is an enhanced risk area now from portions of New Jersey, southeast Pennsylvania, including Philadelphia, New York City, all of Connecticut, and almost up to Boston. Tornado, 2%. Wind, 30%. Hail is 5%, but we also have a severe risk up in Montana as well for today, and that does also extend into some parts of North Dakota. Let's take a look at the HUR model for the rest of today. We'll take a look at the Northeast because this is where I'm most concerned about, and you can see here, it is showing this squall line which is going through Connecticut right now, and that is going to continue southeast, but look what happens. Remember I said there could be some back building in Pennsylvania? That does indeed happen. You also see showers and thunderstorms down in the Carolinas, and look what happens here. It really gets going, and then eventually it clears southeast, but those back building cells, you see these little pockets of purple, those are 2+ inch rain areas, and there's already flooding that's ongoing across portions of Connecticut. Now let's take a look at the rest of the country, and I will reverse this. Let's take a look at radar here, and you can see here, we do have some storms that get going in Montana. Could be some hail makers with those. Central Plains, you do get some storms as well, and a lot of that activity does clear out overnight tonight. Before tomorrow, as you can see, there is another threat of severe storms. Let's go back to the Storm Prediction Center for that. You can see here, slight risk for tomorrow. 5% tornado across portions of Nebraska. Wind is at 15% hatch, and there is a hail threat with that as well. And check this out, there's a day 3 threat as well. It's going to be a very active week for severe weather. Taking a look at the Weather Prediction Center, they only had a marginal risk in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast today. Honestly, that probably should have been a slight risk because, like I said, there is already flash flooding that is ongoing. Slight risk areas in the Four Corners region. Day 2, large slight risk up in Iowa, up into Minnesota. Honestly, you don't need any more rain. There is a slight risk of excessive rainfall from South Carolina into Georgia into Southeast. Marginal risk in the Four Corners region. Day 3, another slight risk of excessive rainfall from Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, and portions of Minnesota. Let's take a look at the days 1 through 7 precipitation. You can see here, we do get some heavier amounts in southeast Pennsylvania. That's from today's event. But I think as time goes on, they're going to start to increase this. The longer range is starting to look wetter now. There may be a boundary that stalls in the east. I'll show you the GFS in a moment. Take a look at this in the upper Midwest and portions of the plains. Yes, something you really do not need. And you're going to get a lot more rain. That could cause more flooding issues. Some welcomed rain in the Four Corners region. And look at Florida, northern Florida. Heavy rain for you. That's one area that got spared a few weeks ago from that heavy rainfall event. So that's actually rainfall that you kind of need. And it's good. In South Georgia, South Carolina as well. Some rainfall in Louisiana as well. Taking a look now at the GFS. Let's advance this. Here's today's system clearing the southeast. You notice here it's dry on the west coast. Yeah, for the most part, the west coast is going to remain dry. We have multiple shower and thunderstorm threats in the Midwest and the Great Lakes. And watch this boundary. It kind of drapes itself from west to east. And that's concerning. You can see here. It sets up and it kind of stalls. Now we're looking at 4th of July. And you can see on 4th of July, we do have this boundary that is set up from west to east. We also have an area of low pressure that's developing up in portions of the northern plains with a trough. And with that, there could be some severe weather. With that, this boundary that sets up, it could stall for several days. Not only into next weekend, it could stall into the following week, and multiple rounds of energy could ride that. Now, there will be some heat ahead of this, but the main thing is going to be the high humidity, moisture. It's going to feel very tropical-like along the east coast, and the west coast, unfortunately, you're going to continue to stay dry. And pretty soon, you're going to be needing some rainfall in areas like California. Now we're into next weekend. Look at this. Here's that boundary. You can see it continues to be stalled. You have other disturbances back across the plains, and even a severe threat here showing up for next Saturday night across portions of Oklahoma. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But again, you can see here, there is a ridge that sets up in the Atlantic. Let's go to the 500 millibar pattern. See this ridge? Look at this energy here. That's a boundary. That boundary just remains stalled. That ridge shifts back to the west. Here comes another trough that tries to link up with it. So you get disturbances along this. And what happens? You get these showers and thunderstorms each and every day, which is a much wetter pattern. Quite frankly, it's needed. Now, not everyone is going to get a shower or thunderstorm every day, but over the course of a period of time, it is really going to help with the drought situation in this area. And when we take a look at the GFS, look at the precipitation amounts. You can see here, this is much wetter than we have seen on the GFS in a long time. Let's take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Well above average in the east, well above average in the west, below average in between in the plains, and then taking a look at what's going on with precipitation, we see it's slightly above average now with even a slightly higher shade in Pennsylvania, slightly above average in Texas. Southern Texas, that's because of tropical influence, moisture from potentially Beryl. And then taking a look at what's going on in the Pacific Northwest, very dry. I'm concerned that you might be heading into worse drought. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. It will be well above average temperatures in the east, but again, it's more so going to be humid, and showers and thunderstorms some days could limit how high the temperatures get, well above average in the west coast, and just a typical summer heat down in Texas, 8 to 14 day precipitation, slightly above average in the east. If that frontal boundary stalling becomes reality, we would obviously see this get more impressive. Same with deal goes back across the southeast, slightly above average in Texas and the Four Corners region, well below average in the Pacific Northwest. All right, real quickly, recapping what's going on with Hurricane Beryl. Hurricane Beryl is a major hurricane. It has 130 mile per hour winds, 960 millibar pressure, and it is heading westward for the Windward Islands. Please, if you live in this area, prepare now. If you live in Jamaica, get your preparations ready now as well. This is a major hurricane, and with the way things are trending, it could continue to be a major hurricane as it passes near or over Jamaica. Alrighty, we will have more updates on this again tomorrow. If you enjoy this update, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe down below. Share these videos with anyone you know. Do you know someone that's in the path of Beryl or any of the severe weather that I just showed you? Share this with them. They need to be informed with what's going on. And of course, leave your comments down below and hit that notification bell. You'll know when I do my latest updates. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic Sunday afternoon.